Clovis lived his life scamming into success and meets with his long-lost stepsister. Will he finally learn from his mistakes and give up a life full of trouble and guilt? You'll have to stick around to the end to see how the whole story unfolds. Hello and welcome to Comedy Recap. Today we will give you a recap of the film Get the Grift. Spoilers ahead, obviously. Without further ado, let's dive right into it. The movie starts with young Clovis sitting in front of his house when his mother left him while his father married his aunt. Later, his father also left him with his aunt Usara. His aunt then married Dursu and left him sometime later when Dursu married another woman called Sonina. Dursu then left him with Sonina, who married a guy who had a daughter, Lohane. Clovis was stuck with the family for some time when he decided to leave. 15 years later, Clovis escaped his family and pursued his dream of painting and scamming people with upper status. He went to restaurants and threw artificial flies into the food he ate to create a scene. He then asked the authorities to cover his whole menu. He continued with his scams until he finally sold the statue of Christ the Redeemer to some corrupt businessman. He sat with them, made the deal, and finally left for home thinking that he was set for life. Later the next day, he saw the news on television about the incident being reported and his face sketch being broadcast across the whole nation. He started to panic and realized that his whole apartment was raided and that everything was stolen down to the last penny. He went to his car and tried to escape away when he crashed into his sister Lohane, who was right outside his apartment building. Now she tells her story of how she managed to end up there in front of the car. She had opened a street side truck and served food to people. She lived happily until cops came and asked her for her trailer's license. She then had to give them money to make them ignore the situation. Unfortunately, the next day, some guys still came and had to remove her trailer. Lohane cried and begged for her trailer as it was the only source of income for her. She then got forced and had no option but to go and meet her stepbrother Clovis. Now we come back to the day when Clovis crashed into Lohane with his car. She sat in his car and started greeting him while he drove away and looked straight at the road in discomfort. When they had reached far away, Clovis got out and started telling her to leave as he was in really deep trouble. She didn't know his troubles and begged him to give her money to get her trailer back. She got her bag and accidentally dropped his bag. All his fake and scammy objects dropped out onto the floor. She looked at him in disgust and started blaming him for being corrupt like all the others while Clovis drove away in his car and left her. She later walked down the road while crying and then saw that Clovis had been pulled over by the cops. She then went to him and started to explain to the cops how he had come into her family, left a baby inside her, and then left without any reason. They started arguing and made the cop uncomfortable. The cop gave up and told them to leave before he arrested them. Clovis and Lohane had driven away and were now sitting near the beach and eating pudding while laughing from escaping from the cop. Clovis had appreciated the gesture of her helping him to get out of the nasty situation. He offered to help her till they both were good to leave on their own. They went to a hotel near the beach when Clovis again decided to scam the receptionist. He presented himself with another name and got access to the luxurious room which was booked under the name of another person. Later, he and Lohane walked down the beach when she explained to him that she felt guilty while at the same time enjoying the situation. He then decided to provide her with some clothes, so he took her to a shop nearby. There, he told her to stuff the clothes inside her own and walk out when the alarm went off after another customer had walked into the security detector with the unpurchased clothes put into her bag by Clovis. Later, Clovis told Lohane to go into the shop nearby and get a picture of the customer's check that was inside. She did all that, and Clovis then made a fake check with the customer's signature that he had copied from her original check from the picture. He later exchanged the fake check with the original one from the receptionist. He then went back to the bank and cashed out from the bank after getting attention from all the other people there, which made the bank receptionist forced to cash him out. Later, they sat in the room hotel when Lohane wanted to go out and party. Clovis told her to sleep and not to go out. Sometime later, he checked up on her and she wasn't in her bed. He went out and then found her at a local party nearby. He tried to take her away but fell into the ground and got covered in animal poo. He later went back to the hotel and got his money back from the receptionist. Clovis then finally bought her a small van while Lohane argued with him that she wanted a trailer. They finally settled on the deal and he drove away in his car. He then started to cry for leaving her and saw the blue van approaching from behind. Lohane from the van told him that he still owed her the trailer and that she wasn't satisfied with this van. They both then sped up their vehicles when Clovis's car broke down and had to sit with her. They both were enjoying their moment in the van when Lohane accidentally crashed into a chicken van, which made the money bag smash out the window and spill all the money out. Cops were seen to be arriving at the situation and they had to leave all their money behind. They sat inside their van at night and got so hungry that Clovis had to kill and eat a fly. He then had an idea and decided to scam again. The next morning, they went to an airport with fake white coats and a box and pretended to have hearts inside. They created a scene again and were made to board a plane to travel to Sao Paulo. They arrived at their destination and Lohane had to go to the bathroom. Clovis waited outside when 3 cops came and arrested him. They brought him to the station and told him that he was to be given 20 years imprisonment. He used his cunningness and told the cop that he'll provide them with the details on the top mafia gangs that he had. The cops got curious and provided him with an apartment for a week to gather all the information while attaching a tracking device to his leg. The cops left when Clovis immediately called Lohane and asked her to meet him. He didn't tell her about being arrested and asked her to complete a final scam with him. He explained to her about selling fake paintings to higher personalities and that they needed to pull this off again to get his money back from the authority that stole it from his apartment. They then started with their plan and Clovis drew a painting whose picture Lohane sent to the higher figure and made a deal for 50,000 reals. She went to meet the man and exchanged the painting for the money while Clovis clicked pictures of them making the trade. Later, Clovis sneakily dressed up and went to an auction while Lohane got alerted and followed him. The same painting that he had sold was being auctioned and he made the senator guilty of money laundering. The senator walked away for having the higher ground while the cop arrested Lohane and the buyer. Clovis felt guilty for letting her get arrested. He finally told the cops that he was guilty and he made them arrest him and let her go. 18 months later, Clovis walks away from and out of the prison and meets Lohane. They both now bought a caravan and started their fast food. They happily served their customers and had finally left their life, which was full of scams and dishonesty. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.